Talcott. He will be in with Dustin LaFountain within 5 minutes.
Good morning. I'll go out and get Mr. Dustin LaFountain.
Okay, thank you.
Are you going to sit on the side or here?
Inside.
Yeah, that's fine. Oh. So everything's on screen. They hear us through the speaker. Good morning. Dustin's with us.
All right, I will start the hearing. Today's date is October 1st, 2024, and we are doing St. Albans probation parole hearings via Microsoft Teams. This is a in-person record review for Dustin LaFountain. Present is Parole Board Chair Dean George, Vice Chair Pat Bushy, Parole Board Member Katie Aiken, the offender Dustin LaFountain, Probation Parole Officer Dave Talcott, and Parole Board Director Mary Jane Ainsworth.
Thank you. Good morning, Dustin. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. Good morning.
Dustin, have you had a chance to look at the report that was written for the hearing this morning?
Yes.
Okay. We're going to begin by asking David to fill us in on what's going on with your case and what's being planned for you by corrections. We'll have a few questions after that and then make a parole decision for today at the end of the hearing. Morning, David.
Good morning. Okay. The new form is throwing me off. So we have Dustin. He's passed his minimum, current max date of May of 29. Whereas it's high, CSI is high. He's on for multiple charges, VAPOs, VCONs, aggravated domestic second degree, another VAPO, escape, burglary, forgery, unlawful mischief, forgery. He does have restitution. I want to say it's somewhere, it's over $10,000. First age of offense was 17. It's criminal history, failures to appear 1, large court orders, conditions 3, charges 3 convictions, felony charges and convictions 7 and 9, misdemeanor charge convictions 11 and 9, assault charges and convictions 2 to 1, assault and law enforcement dangerous weapons 2 charges and an escape. And no driver's license, no warrants. Do you have one now? Driver's license, no warrant. Far as programming, he did programming inside prior to his release. They kept him in past his minimum. Probation was revoked for picking up multiple charges while on probation, which probation revoked plus the new charges. He did 9 months of programming inside. Once he obtained housing through pathways, then Mr. LaFountain came out to community. He's not doing community RRP. He did it inside. He is doing substance treatment with Better Life Partners. He's on the Suboxone program, and he is engaged with Patricia Marshall for mental health counseling. You see his DR record. I won't get into that. You guys saw that. His victim, they have a child together. They talk. They have contact. There's been no issues. And as far as the PPO's input regarding his parole, Dustin has multiple convictions of violence against his intimate partner. He also demonstrated his ability or unwillingness to maintain compliance with community-based supervision while serving his probated sentence. He continued to pick up new felony charges in a variety of Vermont counties, which led to his probation dockets being revoked and multiple overlaying to serve sentences imposed. He was then case staffed to remain incarcerated past the minimum to complete programming. The only other thing, Dustin did get a chance to review it. He is out with pathways and housing programs. He's been given 2 warnings. If it keeps up, his housing will be terminated for one is September 13th and one is September 17th for drug activities within the home.
Okay.
And that's all.
Okay. Thank you. Just a quick follow-up, Dave.
Yep.
I noted in the report that it talked about the programming requirement was IDAP in the facility, and then something was mentioned about risk beyond his minimum. So is IDAP included in risk? Is that what
No, what that means is he did his programming prior to coming out into community. He was case staff to do domestic violence programming while inside. There's nothing on the outside.
Okay. No, I got that. It said he completed the IDAP, and then it said he still needs to do risk. So I assume that's taken care of.
Yes, that is taken care of.
Okay. Thank you.
That might have been a typo from his facility doing the earlier parole summary. Then I got transitioned into the new parole summary.
And how long has he been on community supervision? When did he come into the community?
I want to say he has been out for just 2 months now.
Yeah, it was.
I want to say June 30th or beginning of July.
Okay. Thank you.
Or 20th, I mean, sorry. It was June
It's been
20th.
about 2 months.
Okay.
I've got out today after.
So,
And there are conditions that we would recommend if parole was given.
one other quick question, David. Does he have any DUIs? I didn't notice any in the.
I don't believe so.
That was all expunged, I think. I think that was all sealed on my juvenile stuff.
He means you're adult.
No, I know. I'm just saying, I don't think there's any on there.
So there's no DUI. You've never had a DUI then?
There are, I'm just going through it. Suspended license, domestic, retail theft, misdemeanor, violation of probation, parole revoked. No, there is not.
Okay, thank you. So, Dustin, how long have you been on the MAT program now?
I think since right around when my son was born, so 2017.
2017, quite some time then.
But I mean, I was taking it before that.
Okay.
But I just couldn't find a doctor, so.
You were taking it off the street then, right? Yeah. So what's going on at the Pathways house? How come you've got a couple of warnings already?
Because I helped my neighbor Jeff out with cigarettes, and because all he does is sit in his apartment. He's had a lot of problems since he got out. He don't like to leave or nothing, so I've been helping him out. I help him out with cigarettes, and my nephew comes over to see me and stuff. So I don't understand, because when the first report was made, I was working. So I was never even at the apartment.
Yeah.
I was either at my buddy's house in Grand Isle or at work. So I don't understand when he's saying he saw this, but the only things I can think of are either my nephew coming over or me handing Jeff cigarettes, and I've done that in front of Autumn when I seen him out front of here one day.
Yeah. Do you want to know exactly what they said? I can tell you.
Yeah, please.
So it said on the 13th, there have been reports of a lot of traffic that appears to be drug traffic. It has been observed that there are several individuals frequenting your unit for short periods of time. There have also been reports of individuals being handed items out of your apartment and then leaving immediately. And then on the 17th, immediately cease drug dealing. Well, it says it's been reported and observed there's illegal drug dealing happening in your apartment. There is documented proof of illegal drug activity happening from your apartment. Your tenancy is at risk and may be terminated based upon these reports of evidence. And any further reports of drug dealing from your apartment shall be immediately grounds for a 14-day termination. And then to avoid, immediately cease drug dealing and any other criminal activity from your apartment.
Okay, thank you. So Dustin, I'm not sure what's going on or what, is really happening or not, but it's pretty clear that the activity that's taking place in there is going to jeopardize your place to stay. And
well, the thing is they tell me they don't really want people in the apartment. So I've brought in people up and shown them the apartment. You know what I mean? It's my first own place.
Yeah.
So I've brought in people upstairs, showed them the apartment, and then we left because they were coming to meet me. So I brought them upstairs real quick, showed them the apartment, and then we'd go leave and do something.
Yeah, well, let's not debate that. It just sounds like there's a lot more activity going on than we're talking about this morning. And if that continues, and you lose your pathways residence, then you could end up back in the facility. So,
Yeah.
you know, you've got a great opportunity. These pathway apartments are hard to come by. There's a long waiting list. And if you jeopardize it, you may not get another opportunity. So I don't know what's going on, but you got to stop it. Can you tell us anything that you got out of the risk programming that you participated in?
So they pretty much taught us to like understand our feelings and recognize our risk situations and ways of coping with it and working around it and trying to make something better out of it instead of just always falling into the same circle. And so like, honestly, like that's why I jumped right into working when I got out. I just stayed busy. I was working every day.
What are you doing for work?
I was contracting.
Are you not now?
No, because he shorted me on a paycheck, so I stopped.
He's doing under the table work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not a real job.
Yeah. I was doing contract work for the dude that does all the Champlain Farm stores.
Yeah. Okay.
And the Simon stores.
So are you looking for a job now? Yes.
I was supposed to start at Casella, but I don't have a car right now, so I have no means to drive there.
Okay, thank you. Questions, Pat?
Thank you. Good morning, Dustin.
Good morning.
And Dave. Good
Good
morning.
morning.
So, Dustin, when did you get done working at the other job?
It's been what, a couple weeks ago, a few weeks ago?
Probably a month.
Yeah, probably like a month ago.
So what are you doing all day? How are you supporting yourself?
I mean, I just been hanging out with my neighbor, and my car got smashed, so we've been stripping the car because it's a BMW, so it's all foreign parts. So we just been stripping it and selling the parts.
What are you doing for money?
Stripping my car.
And selling the parts?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a foreign car, so everything on it's worth money. My buddy's putting them on his what's it called? The marketplace thing.
Marketplace.
Yeah.
So how often
I'm trying to
do you
get the
see
cats
your
off
son?
it, but I've had 3 sawzalls die on me.
How often do you see your son?
I go to his soccer games and his practices. He has practice twice a week, and then sometimes he has practice twice on the weekend, sometimes once. And
How do
it
you get
depends
there?
on if I can find a ride. I was going to every one up until I didn't have a car anymore.
Okay. What had you lost your license for?
I think it expired, and then I got caught driving with no registration or inspection. And I think that's what it got suspended for, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure.
Tell us a couple of your coping skills. When you want to use, what do you use for coping skills?
My baby mom and Jeff, where I just take some time to myself and do the stop and think and get some space. I just think of my son and being out here. That's why I don't understand these, because I haven't even been doing nothing. I don't understand.
Well, it sounds like you have an awful lot of free time.
Yeah. Well, that's why I was trying to start at Casella, but the shuttle for Casella doesn't come out to Swanton, and the bus from Swanton to St. Albans is an hour late for the shuttle.
Thank you. I'm all set, Dean.
Thank you. Katie?
Good morning, Dustin.
Good morning.
So it sounds like I was reading the paperwork that you filled out. Sounds like there's a pretty significant history of substance use, starting from as early as 11.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
I don't really know. I mean, I started sipping beer and stuff when I was like 4 or 5 because my stepfather was a wicked bad alcoholic. He had 4 cabinets full of liquor. The first liquor I drank when I was 5 was coffee brandy. He used to leave half beers everywhere in the bathroom, on the counters, and I used to sneak them. And like I started smoking cigarettes around the same age, because neither of my parents would ever smoke full cigarettes. They'd always leave half cigarettes in the ashtrays, so I'd just take them. And then I moved to New Hampshire. I did all right. I made it to a semi-pro indoor soccer kids league. Then I moved back here when I was 11, and as soon as I moved back here, I started getting into perks, stuff like that, drinking pretty heavily. Oh yeah, I started smoking pot at like 7 or 8 before I moved to New Hampshire. And then after that, I came back, got into the pills pretty bad. And then by like 12, 13, I was already into oxys, and I was hitting those pretty hard, and I was selling them. And when I was 13 going on 14, or just turned 14, is when I started IB drug use. I saw my buddy's older brother doing it in the kitchen, and I asked him how it was and stuff, which is crazy because I used to pick on people that did IB drug use. I used to be mean to people like that. And he made it sound like it was the greatest thing in the world. And I grabbed one, and then, because me and his brother, like me and my buddy, we started doing everything together. We did our first perks together. We did our first oxys. Well, no, I did the oxys by myself, but like we shot up together for the first time. We did pretty much everything for the first time. And like, so I got that from his brother, and immediately we went and used the same needle. We were so young, we didn't even know you had to switch it out. We literally drew it up in one and then pushed some in one and some in the rest in the other. Like, I don't know how we didn't get sick or die, but
You're pretty lucky.
yeah. And then from there on, I just went
Been a long
crazy.
road. Sounds
Well,
like it's been an incredibly long road for you with substance
I've
use.
had a long-standing problem with mental health issues, let's say, and for a while I didn't want to know anything. I didn't want to remember anything, so I would just try to get so messed up that I couldn't function.
Through all
So I
of
didn't
that
have to
early
remember
drug
anything.
use, you also probably changed a lot of how your brain developed as well.
Yeah,
So how old is your son now?
7.
So about the same age when you started using marijuana.
Yeah,
So can you picture him going down that same road that you did?
no.
So you have an opportunity here to really be that example for him and help make sure that that doesn't happen. And so I'm really kind of worried for you, Dustin, when, you know, it's only been a few months and you're already getting these warnings and a lot of free time on your hands. It's really important to kind of figure out how this is going to, I know you're really motivated right now. So how are you going to continue that motivation is something that I'm really worried about for you.
Yeah.
So I just want you to take that certainly into consideration. Tell me what your treatment looks like right now. How often are you going? What are you involved in?
So I meet my mat doctors. I get monthly scripts. I meet my mat doctor once a month. I meet Patricia like every 2 weeks. And that's pretty much that. I have so on phase 1, there's anywhere from I don't know. I think it's anywhere. I'm trying to remember what the paper said. There's anywhere from 1 to 3 UAs a month, and then phase 2 it drops down, and then phase 3 it drops down, and then phase 4 is like once every. So it goes. Phase 2 is once every 2 months. Phase 3 is once every 3 months. Phase 4 is every 4 months. So it works out. But my doctor's opening her own clinic. So I'm going to be transferring with her to that clinic. So I don't know how it's really like how the structure is going to be set up there. I'm guessing it's probably going to be the same pretty much as the clinic she's worked at before. Because this will be my 4th time transferring with her. But she's been my doctor since 2017.
And so your counseling's only every other week?
Well, every other week and once a month. And I meet with her for like anywhere from an hour and 20 minutes to 2 hours.
Are you having any regular screenings done?
Drug screenings?
Yes.
Yeah. I just did my UA the day before.
How have those been?
All right.
I haven't got any copies.
Yeah, I'll have her send you it. They just sent me the box for the mobile UAs. We had to set it up on the Burlington Labs thing.
But you haven't gotten any reports back yet on those officially?
It should come in next day.
I haven't got any reports.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
I might have shipped it.
All right. Well, thank you, Dustin. That's all the questions I have.
All right.
Thank you. If there's no further questions, what is the pleasure of the board for today?
I'd like to ask for a deliberative session, please.
Okay.
I'll second.
Motion's made and seconded for the board to enter a deliberative session. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. We'll be back shortly.
Do you know what that means? They're stepping away to talk together and come back with a decision.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I'll make sure you get those results. I'm pretty sure she already sent me the web link to do the release and stuff. So
Yeah, with Better Late Partners, you got to send it to them because Brad won't send me whatever the release is. I haven't got anything yet. Should have, but I haven't got it yet. Where do you drop it off at, your samples?
I send it.
Mail?
Yeah. I put it in the Dropbox next to my house. Let me see if it's in my messages.
That day gonna worry. It doesn't matter right now. Let's do that later.
I mean, if you want to fill one out after, we can.
Well, most of them have their own. So just when you go there for your, two Better Life Partners, you talk to her either in person, it's over the phone, right? Sure, you can just do it.
If I get the results first, I'll send you the results myself. Because I normally sign up for the email thing where the results get sent to my email. You, Ritalin, and antidepressants. Yeah. I'm trying to get better at taking the antidepressants though, like, because I got so used to being told when meds were, you know what I mean? Like sometimes I'll forget to take them in the morning or I'll forget to take them at night.
You set up an alarm on your phone.
Well, I got those, Rexall has those daily
Planners.
post things. Yeah, and I grabbed 2 of them, one for morning, one for night. So then I can just keep it right there where I'll see it.
All right, the board is back. We are back on the record.
Thank you. So Dustin, we're not going to grant parole at this time. We really want you to try to be successful in it. You've had a couple of issues, and as we talked about during the interview, we've got concerns that you might lose your residence, and it's pretty clear that stable housing is an issue for you, and we don't want that to happen. So try to get back on track if there's an issue. Hopefully you can continue with your counseling and at the same time find employment, because you've got too much time that you're not focused on, and the possibility of losing your housing, which is really critical for you, is there. And so it's time to turn that around. And David, we'd be happy to see him again as soon as you're comfortable that things are going well for him.
Okay, I can do that.
Thank you, Ariel.
Thank you.
All right, and we are gonna have Russell Smith next, Alex's case.
Alex.
Did we lose Katie?
No, she's right here.
I see her.
Oh, okay.
I see her.
So
okay.
everybody, before we get going, I just want to introduce you. I have co-counsel on this case, one of the Lamoille public defenders, Alex, who will be doing the evidentiary portion of the hearing with me. There he is.
Good morning, Alex.
Oh no, Alex, we can't hear you.
All right, well, let me
Oh no,
try
now
and
I hear you. Now
Okay.
I hear you.
Good,
Okay.
good. All right, well, thanks for having me.
And before we get started as well, we do have Trooper Cody and Underwood on as well, who have been subpoenaed for this hearing. I am going to sequester both of you into breakout rooms. The computer should move you automatically, and when you're called to testify, I will bring you back.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Is there any other witnesses for this case, or were those the only two?
I think those were the only two.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure. I've got a few in the audience that I wasn't aware of who they are, so I just wanted to check.
Okay, great. Morning, Mr.
All right.
Smith. How you doing?
Best I can right now, ma'am.
Good. Okay. So we're all ready, and we'll get going when the board is ready for us, okay?
Okay. Today's date is October 1st, 2024, and we are doing St. Albans probation and parole hearings via Microsoft Teams. This is a parole violation hearing for Russell Smith. Present is Parole Board Chair Dean George, Parole Board members Katie Aiken and Pat Bushy. Hold on just a second. Did we lose Pat? We did lose Pat. Hold on. Let me see if I can get her back. I know she was having problems with Teams this morning.
One of those days.
Pat, are you back?
Yes. It kicked me
Okay.
out.
Okay, I will restart. Today's date is October 1st, 2024, and we are doing St. Albans probation parole hearings via Microsoft Teams. This is a parole violation hearing for Russell Smith. Present is Parole Board Chair Dean George, Vice Chair Pat Bushy, Parole Board Member Katie Aiken, Parolee Russell Smith, Probation Parole Officer Alex AIROLDI, Prisoner's Rights Attorney Jill Martin, Public Defender Alex Canzari, I'm sorry, I'm Assistant Attorney General Bob Menzel, and Parole Board Director Mary Jane Ainsworth.
Morning, Russell. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can, sir.
So, Russell, in the first part of the violation hearing, we're going to consider the two conditions of your parole agreement that you've been charged with violating. So I'm going to begin by reading them to you, and I'll ask you to either admit or deny violating them. For either or both that you choose to deny, we'll ask the Department of Corrections to provide the board with the information on that issue, and we'll decide if it is sufficient to find that you did violate it or not. If we find that you did violate either or both of the conditions, then we'll move on to disposition. We'll have a discussion about your parole status and then make a decision on what we're going to do with that. During the hearing, if you wish to speak with your attorney at any time, just let me know. We'll pause the hearing and allow you to converse with your attorney privately and then resume the hearing. Yes,
Dean, if I may, we're going to waive a formal reading of the conditions. Mr. Smith pleads, rather denies violating condition 1 and admits violating condition 9.
Okay. Are there still pending charges?
There are, yes.
Yes.
So additionally, Russell, if you testify at this hearing, what you say here cannot be used against you in a criminal hearing unless you testify in the criminal hearing and your testimony is different, then it can be used to challenge that testimony. Understood? Thank you. Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear the information you provide at this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. And Alex, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear that the information you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. So it is condition 1 that we need to have our evidence on. So we will begin with you and Bob Menzel, and I believe you have 2 witnesses you want to bring in.
Correct. We could start with Trooper Cody, please.
He is on his way back. Trooper Cody is back in the main room. I don't believe his camera is on.
No, no
But
camera. But I'm here.
Thank you. Trooper Cody, this is Dean George, the chair of the parole board. Would you state your full name, please?
Yes, it is Keith Cody.
Thank you. And Keith, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear the information you provide at this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Your witness, Bob.
Thank you, Dean. Good morning, Trooper Cody. I guess it's obvious that you are you work for the Vermont State Police.
Yes.
All right. And were you on duty on June 25th of 2024?
Yes, I was.
And so on that date, did you were you involved in an investigation involving Mr. Smith?
Yes, I was.
And can you just describe for the board what the investigation was?
Sure. So it was initially a burglary complaint at Pro Power, which is located here in Cambridge. During the overnight hours, their business was broken into and several chainsaws were stolen. The investigation then led into Franklin County. Cambridge is in Lamoille County. The investigation then led into Franklin County because the suspect who had broken into the store also stole a store credit card and used that card at multiple businesses in Franklin County.
All right. And were you able to follow up on the investigation regarding the use of the stolen credit cards?
Yes, I was. I obtained video footage from the People's Trust Bank in Enosburg, the Maple Fields in Maple Fields in Enosburg, as well as the Jolly in Enosburg.
And can you just describe, and you viewed those videos?
I did.
Can you describe for the board what you saw on those videos as you watched them?
I observed Russell Smith, who I'm familiar with, utilizing the card to withdraw money from the ATM at the People's Trust to purchase goods and gasoline at the Jolly and Maple Field stores.
All right. And while you were at the scene, did you also observe a tire tread?
I did. The in front of the business, the dirt was soft, and there was a fresh tire print in front of the door, which I had documented.
Okay. And just to be clear, that was at Pro Power, right?
Correct. That was at Pro Power. Yes.
Right. Okay. So I kind of jumped around there. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
So at some point, did you have an occasion to speak with Mr. Smith about the burglary?
Yes, I did. I'm not sure the exact date that I spoke with him, if it was later that day or if it was later on. But yes, I did get a chance to speak with Mr. Smith.
And can you just describe the conversation that you had with Mr. Smith at that time?
Sure. So I responded with Trooper Van Wert to Mr. Smith's residence in Richford. He agreed to meet with us outside his porch. So we had a conversation. I told him I was investigating a burglary in which several chainsaws were stolen, and as well as the fraudulent use of a credit card. Yep.
And what was his response to that information?
Sure. So initially, Mr. Smith denied any knowledge, denied being involved. I continued to press him about this and told him that, Russ, now's the time. I've got you dead to rights. You don't have to admit it to me if you don't want to. But now's the time to come clean, make amends. I asked him about the chainsaws, and I had knowledge that earlier that day, a fellow trooper had stopped Mr. Smith driving for an unrelated to this investigation. And in Mr. Smith's vehicle, that trooper observed a brand new chainsaw. I'm not sure if the trooper looked at Mr. Smith's extensive history and noticed that he has a history of stealing things, but he questioned Mr. Smith about this and decided to run the serial number of the chainsaw. At this time, I didn't have the list of stolen chainsaws from Pro Power, so I wasn't able to enter the chainsaw information with their serial numbers into our database so that if they do get run later on, they show stolen. When the trooper ran that serial number, it didn't come up as stolen, so he gave it back to Mr. Smith and sent him on his way. It was that model chainsaw was one of the chainsaws that was stolen from the burglary in Cambridge.
Okay.
So with that information, I went to Mr. Smith, and again, I pressed him more on the theft. He ultimately told me that he had sold all of the stolen chainsaws but one, which was the one that Trooper Handy had found in his vehicle. Mr. Smith then asked his son to go inside their house and bring out that stolen chainsaw, which he did, and I returned it to Pro Power.
Okay. And so he basically admitted to you that he had stolen the chainsaws?
Yes. Yep. And that he had sold all of them but that one.
Okay. And did you make any observations of the vehicle at the house while you were there?
Yes. So the vehicle that Mr. Smith was stopped the morning of by Trooper Handy was a black Nissan. I registered to him. I observed the tire treads to be the exact tire tread that I saw in the dirt in front of Pro Power, and that was documented.
Okay. He indicated that he had bought a chainsaw from a Craig Fuller. Were you able to follow up on that at all?
So I have attempted to get in touch with. There is a Craig Fuller I was able to find a Craig Fuller through our database that has a history in the Richford area. I was unable to find a phone number or find a good address to track him down to have a discussion with him to, because I have a plan of talking to Mr. Fuller about this to see if Mr. Smith's allegation of, acquiring this from a Craig Fuller is accurate or not.
Okay. And that was just that one chainsaw that he said he got from Mr. Fuller, correct?
I believe so, yes.
All right. All right. I don't think I have any other questions.
Thank you. Bill and Alex?
I'm gonna let Alex take the cross on this one.
Good morning, Trooper Cody.
Good morning.
My name is Alex Canzaneri. I'm with the Lamoille County Public Defender's Office. So I just have some questions about the testimony you just gave. If you can bear with me 1 second. Were you involved in Mr. Smith's prior cases that he's currently on parole for?
I'm not sure about that. I have prior professional dealings with Mr. Smith in regards to burglaries, but I'm not sure if they're ones that he's on parole for or probation for.
Okay, but for the purposes of this interaction you had with Mr. Smith, you already considered him someone who commits burglaries in the area?
I know him to commit burglaries, yes.
Okay. Can I ask you about the tire treads?
Yes.
You said that you took a photo of the tire tread at the People Power. Is it Pro Power? Is that correct? The name of the place at the Pro Power location?
Correct.
Did you take a photograph of the tire tracks, Mr. Smith's car?
Trooper Van Wert did, and then he forwarded the photographs to me.
And you made this conclusion that they are the same tire track on what basis?
I said that the tire track at Pro Power left behind was the same tread as the vehicle on Mr. Smith's vehicle.
And do you have any special training in matching tire treads?
No, it's just a visual observation.
When you said that the suspect who stole the chainsaws was the same as the person who was seen using these credit cards at one point, correct? That was a statement you gave?
I said that I inferred that, yes.
So that's just an inference. That's not something that's an inference you're making. That's not something you have independent connectivity on.
That's correct, because there's no surveillance video from Pro Power.
Now, when you went to Pro Power, they gave you a list of serial numbers of stolen chainsaws. Is that correct?
Not on the day of the theft. It was days later that they gave that. Because they needed
later.
Yes, they needed time to do their inventory to get the accurate serial numbers for the chainsaws and to go through all of them.
Now, did you have this list of serial numbers at the time you arrested Mr. Smith?
No, I did not.
Now, when you received the list of serial numbers, isn't it correct that the chainsaw that you found with Mr. Smith was not on the list of serial numbers you received?
The chainsaw that was on the list was listed. They did not have the serial number for that chainsaw. That's correct. It was the exact model, but they did not have the serial number for that chainsaw. So I went off of Mr. Smith's testimony, or not his testimony, what he had told me that was one of the saws from Pro Power.
So Mr. Smith told you that can I ask you, what exactly did Mr. Smith say about the chainsaw you found with him and it coming from Pro Power? That's a very specific statement that you're making. Can you tell me exactly what he said?
He told me it was the only chainsaw that he had left that he hadn't sold.
So if you had your body cam on during this conversation?
That's correct.
So if we watch that body cam back, we would see Mr. Smith saying, I stole this chainsaw from Pro Power and then I sold the rest of them.
Something along those lines, yes. Okay. Maybe not that exact wordage, but yes.
All right. We'll circle back to that in a second. I just want to continue on with the serial numbers. You received a list of serial numbers for 7 other chainsaws, and that was on a typed up written document. Was that received? Is that correct?
I'm just pulling it up now. I believe it was typed, yes.
Now, on that document, I think Jill, this document I sent to you. Is this possible if we could get this provided?
The receipt? Yes, I can pull that up and send that to the board. Hang on just 1 second. Apologies.
No, this would be not the receipt. This would be the list of
yes. Let me pull that up for everyone. I think I can share my screen. Okay, can everyone see what's on my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So, Trooper Cody, is this the document that we're discussing? The list of chainsaws?
Yes, it is.
Now, I see here there are 7 chainsaws with model numbers, descriptions, and serial numbers. And then there's one handwritten number underneath this list that says 440. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And that 440 there, that's the chainsaw that you found in the possession of Mr. Smith.
That's correct.
And this document was not generated until after Mr. Smith was arrested.
I didn't get the document until after Smith was arrested. I'm not entirely sure on when the document was generated.
So I just want to understand, on your testimony, it sounded like you said that the only reason Mr. Smith wasn't arrested by Trooper Handy is because you hadn't been able to enter these serial numbers into the database.
That's correct, because I didn't have the list.
But that there actually is no serial number corresponding to the chainsaw that he had. That is not a serial number on the list of chainsaws that you were provided.
I don't understand your question.
So I'm looking at this. If I'm looking at this document,
yep.
You're saying the chainsaw he was found with was the 440 that is handwritten on the bottom here where it says 440.
Yes.
And there's no serial number.
Right. That's correct. The way it was explained to me from Rod at Pro Power was that they had that chainsaw in stock, or they had the 440 in stock for so long that they didn't have the paperwork for the serial number anymore. That's why they didn't have it written down.
So you had that conversation with him after Mr. Smith was arrested?
That's correct.
So after Mr. Smith was arrested, you knew that you had found Mr. Smith with a 440, and you had a conversation with the victims of this burglary about a chainsaw that wasn't on their list of serial numbers. Is that correct?
After Mr. Smith was arrested, I had a conversation with After Mr. Smith was arrested, I received this list. Is that what you were saying?
Yes, but you just said that you spoke with Pro Power about the list of chainsaws after you arrested Mr. Smith with a 440. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then after he was arrested, they generated a list of stolen chainsaws from their records and then added the number 440 to that list.
I do not know when this list was generated. Like I told you, I obtained this list after Mr. Smith was arrested.
Sure. So you obtained this list after he was arrested. You spoke with, so the order of operations here, as I just want to clarify, you didn't have a list of any chainsaws. You arrested Mr. Smith with a specific chainsaw. You then spoke with the victims who provided you, regardless of when they prepared it, you received this after the arrest, and you had spoken with them about the chainsaw that Mr. Smith was found with. It was not on the list of things in their database, and the list they sent you just included an extra chainsaw, not in their database, that matched the one you found Mr. Smith with. Is any of that incorrect?
I'm going to object. That was pretty convoluted, and I'm not entirely certain where the question is in it.
Yeah, I'm having a really hard time understanding what you're getting at.
Mr. Kesman, I think we get the point of what you're trying to get to on this.
All right. In that case, if we could turn to this earlier, you said that during your conversation with Mr. Smith, he admitted to you that he had stolen the chainsaws from ProPower, and then he had sold all of the rest of them, but he kept this one. Is that a correct summary of what you testified about that conversation?
No, what I testified to the fact was that Mr. Smith told me he had sold all of the stolen chainsaws and only had the one left. I don't recall Mr. Smith ever admitting to me that he stole the chainsaws. That was
okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
He made it seem like he admitted.
So he did not admit to you that he stole the chainsaws. That's correct.
He admitted to selling the stolen chainsaws, right?
Okay, I just want to clarify because on the direct examination, I believe counsel for the state asked you if he had admitted. That the allegation that he admitted to stealing the chainsaws is not correct, and you're making the inference that he stole the chainsaws. Is that correct?
Correct.
He told you that he had actually purchased the chainsaw he had in his possession from a Craig Fuller. Is that correct?
That at one point he mentioned that. I don't know if it was before or after he told me it was a stolen chainsaw.
So if we were to review the body cam footage and it showed that that prior to him being arrested, he had told you that Craig Fuller had sold him this chainsaw, you don't have any reason to think that's incorrect.
I don't have any reason to think that he purchased this chainsaw from Craig Fuller.
Sorry, that was a positive question. I'm sorry. So he at least one point, so I'll withdraw that question. At least at one point, he told you that Craig Fuller had sold him this chainsaw. Is that correct? You're not sure when?
At one point, he had made that statement, yes. I'm not sure if that was prior to being arrested or after being arrested.
So in the affidavit that you submitted in regard to this charge, it does say that he had told Trooper Handy, who he met earlier in that day before you arrested him, that he had purchased this from Craig Fuller. Is that correct?
If that was that part of Trooper Handy's report?
Yeah, so this is part of your affidavit where you were quoting Trooper Handy's report.
Quote Trooper Handy. I'm looking at it now. I mean, it could be. Okay, yes, I see. He located it, and he says he bought it from a man named Craig Fuller. Yep, I see that.
And then he talked to Trooper Handy here. It says, according to your affidavit, that they discussed whether he would get a bill of sale for that purchase. That's correct?
He said something to the effect of he should try to get a bill of sale. Yes.
Now, later in your affidavit, he in paragraph 15 of your affidavit, he also discussed with you. It says you also discussed with you that he had bought this chainsaw from Craig Fuller, and you discussed a bill of sale. Is that correct?
Correct.
So I have, Jill, if you could put into evidence, I have what, on the time of his arrest, this is a document of a bill of sale that Mr. Smith had on him, I believe, when he was arraigned by the other attorney in my office. He turned this over. This is a bill of sale from Craig Fuller that has the serial number for the chainsaw in question, is signed by Craig Fuller.
So I'm going to object to this document. There's no foundation for it.
I'll throw in there. I've never seen this, and
Yep, there's no question before you, Trooper. Just let's wait for a ruling from the board.
So,
if the trooper has not seen this document,
I have, right. I'm objecting because I don't.
The document, we should proceed without it at this point.
Okay, so I'll withdraw that. I'll just go ask. He told you that you discussed having a bill of sale, and he discussed that he had bought this from Craig Fuller. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, was that a question for me?
Yes, sorry. We're back on you, Trooper Code. So you discussed that he had purchased this from Craig Fuller. Is that correct?
After he was arrested and was being charged with a felony, he told me that he could come up with a bill of sale stating that he purchased this from Craig Fuller.
Okay, and you're saying he didn't say he had purchased it from Craig Fuller before you arrested him, not to you?
Correct. In paragraph 15 is when I heard it, which I clearly state was back at the St. Albans barracks.
Okay. Bear with me for 1 second here. If it's, I don't know, I haven't done one of these before. I don't know I would defer to how the parole board would like to do this. We have footage of this conversation. And so from his Trooper Cody's body cam, so I would just like to play at least a portion of that. So I'm deferring to the procedure here on how we would go about doing that.
And I would just offer in support that this was footage that was provided by the state in his criminal docket.
Right, so I'd object to that because I haven't seen it yet. I haven't had an opportunity to review it. It's being introduced here for the first time.
I think it is, well, I don't want to speak for co-counsel here. I think primarily we're using it for impeachment purposes. Yeah. So I'm not sure whether under the board's evidentiary rules, you're required to see it beforehand. I'm happy to send it over and agree to a recess so that you can review.
I'm going to ask the board to have a quick deliberative session and we'll return shortly.
So moved.
Katie, you're muted.
Sorry, I forgot I did that. Yes,
That's okay.
a second.
Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 We shall return shortly.
Thank you, board members. So Alex, I should warn you that the pause in between hearings is still recorded. But now you can finally meet Bob. Alex, Bob, Alex.
Hi, Bob. Nice to meet you.
Morning, everybody.
See, Bob, I told you gotta fill up.
Oh, I'm not grumpy. I'm doing my job.
No. I know you're not grumpy. I'm telling you, I didn't. Yeah. I gave you the warning. Look, I forgot.
My copy is empty, though. I could use some more. That's for sure.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
The board is on their way back. We are back on the record.
Okay. So clearly for the board, there are a number of issues in play here, and we have sworn testimony from Trooper Cody. If there's something that you can show us quickly, we don't want to spend a lot of time reviewing video footage. Please move through this quickly.
Sure. So
All right.
I think I have the exact position ready for the board to review. I just have to figure out how to share the right screen. Oh, geez. Oh, geez. Okay. Is the board able to see the video?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let me just find the right place because I think it's
And Jill,
11:25.
Jill, if there's audio, unless you selected the include sound when you shared, the audio will not play.
Share sound. Thank you.
Yep.
11. Okay. I think I'm in the right spot, board members. And hold on. How do I make it big? Oh, geez.
Grab that Husqvarna chainsaw.
Is this the one that's here? There's nothing hiding under this pile, or I know you got a fenced in area back here.
So Jill, I think this is a little after where we used to be.
Oh, okay. Apologies. I thought we were at 11:25:45. What's the time? Alex?
You're muted, Alex.
Yeah, so it should be around 11:25:45, but it looks like we're at 11:26:27 right now.
Okay. So we'll start there.
No, I'm sorry. This is my confusion. I'm looking at the time at the top of the screen.
Oh, apologies. Okay. Hold on. I can do this. 11. There we go. That makes more sense.
You're out on parole for a ton of burglaries. You got a ton of burglaries on your record. I bring you in right now. We're more than likely going to be bringing you to jail. So one way or another, Russ, is we can do this. You continue to bullshit me. I take you in. I bring you to jail. You can try to make something right, and we can get the chainsaws back to the owner. And you can start like just being a man and owning up. You fucked up. You got caught. I've caught you before, and you've owned things before. So whatever. If you want to quit, if you want to keep playing bullshit games and saying it weren't you, then all right, that's fine. But if you want to man up and be like, all right, yeah, I fucked up. I'm struggling right now. Obviously, got to pay some bills. I'm using whatever it is. We can tell that to the judge, and we'll see what he or she has to say. But
all I got is that one.
Where are the other ones?
I don't know. They're gone.
You offloaded them already? Are they on your property, Russ?
No.
Are they here?
I only got one. I'll get it right now.
Where are the other ones?
Don't do it, Russ.
You
Don't
already
do
got
it.
rid of them? Is it in your house?
I'll go grab it for you.
Well, hang on. Before we do that, I'll let you grab it, and that's big of you, but I'm not going to let you go in your house unaccompanied by me. Okay?
I'll my son bring it to you.
That's fine. Can you have, what's your son's name?
Did you need more than that?
So this is the police body cam from the whole event.
Alex?
When the cop was interacting with the gentleman.
Yes,
So they're showing it on the screen.
That's the first part I would like to show. This is the complete exchange involved, as I see it, regarding this supposed confession. Trooper Cody, were you able to hear that?
Yes, I was.
Now, nowhere in that conversation does he mention anything to do with actually committing this burglary. Is that correct?
Correct.
And nowhere in that conversation does he give a long, you gave a long description of the many things he said he did about what he had done and what he had sold. And no, that's not in there. Right? He doesn't speak about anything about saying, I have one, but I sold the rest. That wasn't in what we heard. Is that correct?
Word.
He said he has one chainsaw in his house. Yes, we heard that.
Right. So that's what he admitted to, was having a chainsaw in his house, correct?
If you if you had started this video at the beginning, and when I introduced myself and told Mr. Smith I was there investigating a burglary from Pro Power where several chainsaws were stolen, and then you advance forward 11 minutes into the video, and we're still talking about stolen chainsaws from Pro Power. We're not talking about just any chainsaw, okay? And Mr. Smith knew that, and he told me he had one chainsaw left in the house, and that as we just heard, I asked him if he got rid of or offloaded all the other chainsaws, or if they were still on his property, and Mr. Smith told me, no, they are not on my property.
So I'm happy to...
Hang on.
Go ahead. Go ahead, sure. Sorry.
I wasn't there just for a chainsaw. And you took this video and played a very short portion of it. I was there for stolen chainsaws from Pro Power in Cambridge. So does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
And I will grant that this is a selection. I'm trying to keep this short for the purpose. I would be happy for the board to watch the whole video. I would try to keep it tethered to the portion where the confession was here.
Well, Alex, sorry, hang on just one second. Let me offer that to the board, if I may, because I know we're over our time. And I do want the department and the board to be able to view the video in its entirety. So at this point, so I don't want to inconvenience Trooper Cody further, nor Trooper Underwood, I would ask whether the board would entertain a motion to continue this hearing so that the video camera footage can be reviewed by the department and by the board, and then we can reconvene in a month.
Man.
And Bob Menzel.
Yeah, I would object to that. I mean, the department is seeking revocation, and so this is just an effort to buy some additional time for Mr. Smith. And I don't, I object to the continuance. So,
to be clear, I'm not trying to buy any time for Mr. Smith. What I'm trying to do is give the board the full and fair opportunity to review the evidence. But we're happy to keep going down this path. We're prepared to do so today.
Let's continue, please.
All right, so I just want to understand, we're just going to leave the video for here. We're not going to go to any portions of the other video.
That's up to you, whether you think there's something critically important in there. As I said, you have Trooper Cody here to interview. We'd like to proceed with that. We have another witness that we have to interview and move on to parole violation here. This is not the criminal trial.
So he stole some chainsaws, and then I think he sold them.
In that case, I will move on. Just to be clear, if Trooper Cody, your representation is that there is no, prior to this exchange, you discussed the Pro Power burglary. That's what's going on in the earlier portions of this video.
That's correct.
At no point earlier before this exchange did Mr. Smith admit to participating in that burglary or anything other than having this chainsaw in question. Is that correct?
That's his lawyer right there on the bottom.
All right. And that chainsaw in question is the chainsaw that he told you he had purchased from Craig Fuller, correct?
I believe so.
And this was the chainsaw that is not on the list of serial numbers. There is no on the list of serial numbers. This chainsaw does not appear. Is that correct?
Right. So this chainsaw is on the list. There's just no serial number. They didn't have a serial number for the stolen 440. That's correct.
This has been a long hearing.
I believe that's all my questions I have.
all over some
Anything else
chainsaws.
on redirect, Todd Menzel?
I don't, let me, so in reviewing all the evidence that you encountered in the investigation, are you still confident that Mr. Smith is the individual that broke into ProPower and stole those chainsaws and those credit cards?
What do you guys
Yes.
think?
Okay.
Do you guys think that he stole these
And nothing
chainsaws?
has changed your mind about the fact that it was Mr. Smith on the video using the stolen credit cards?
No.
Okay, I don't have any questions.
Thank you. If there's nothing further, we have a second witness to bring in.
We got another witness. How
Can
is
I
this gonna
have
play
a,
out?
Can I have a quick breakout with Alex?
Are we all set with Trooper Cody?
Yes.
Trooper Cody, thank you for your time.
Thank you all.
Give me 1 second, Bob. I'm not sure where Mr. Smith will go during the breakout that you have with Alex,
Oh,
but
yeah,
I'll
no.
let.
All right.
This series
I'll let
has
you
been on for like an
work
hour and
that
20
out with
minutes so
him.
far.
Alex, you guys are in the same room, right?
Correct. We're in the conference room over here. I can have Mr. Smith wait in the lobby and then go grab him.
Yeah, that sounds good. Let's do that.
Okay. So I just step out.
Mr. Smith is about
Can
to
you
go.
bring John over with us as well?
Yep.
Thank
Have
you.
a little break. What do you guys feel? Do you guys feel like
And I've
Mr.
left
Smith?
Trooper Underwood in the breakout room until you're back, Bob.
Thank you.
Or are they picking on
MJ, are
Mr.
you
Smith?
saying the conference room is like a bigger window?
Yes, it's because what the computer does is when hold on, let me open their conference. So the new camera systems in the conference room will zoom in and split depending on how many bodies are in the room and who's
Cool.
talking. So now that it's just when Alex came back in, it zoomed in on Alex,
Fancy.
and when he left, it zoomed out. So the new systems they've got in some of the conference rooms are pretty cool.
That's pretty fancy. Well, I have a meeting with Dawn Matthews later because she's going to be covering my paroles while I'm on leave.
Yeah.
And I said to her, like, you know, when last she did them, we were all still in person. I said, Teams is a whole new world.
Yeah.
Get ready.
So it depends on if they're in a conference room or if how they're doing it.
Yeah,
But if we can hitch to one of these Link conference systems, it's pretty cool. We've been using them for our staff meetings too.
Oh, nice.
All right. So right now I'm actually running around between 3 streams. I currently got Connecticut, Utah, and Vermont. I'm active. Well, obviously in the one in Vermont. The other 2, they're just they're running solo. And if you're wondering where the other streams are running, they're running on that one streaming platform, the one with the red icon and with the white triangle. Shouldn't be that hard to figure it out. If you want to see the video or the Microsoft meeting video, I do have it posted up there. And the reason I'm not posting it up here on TT is because if not, then I'll get hit with a violation, and that's no bueno. So right now they're hey, thank you, Snow, highly appreciate it. Starlight, highly appreciate it. Oh, we're at 3K. Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Anyhow, so yeah, I got multiple streams going on right now. So for those of you that caught the police body cam video or the evidence, do you guys feel that he admitted to stealing those or burglarizing those chainsaws? I didn't hear all of that.
They are on their way back.
All right, they're on their way back. Like that cop was trying to gaslight him into admitting that he took those chainsaws. This one's gonna be a long one, and yes, it looks like that. JC. Yeah, we've been on this one already for an
Mr. Smith
hour,
gets back in the room, we'll reconvene.
about an hour and 20 minutes so far.
We are back on the record.
Thank you. Bob Menzel, you have a second witness?
We do. We're going to call Trooper Andrew Underwood, please.
Right, I'm bringing Trooper Underwood back now. Trooper Underwood is back in the room. I'm not sure if he has camera ability or not.
I can, yeah.
All right. Let me see. Snow Road. All they
Thank
got
you.
is the
Good
police
morning,
saying,
Trooper
yep.
Underwood. This is Dean George, the chair of the parole board.
Hello.
Before we begin, I'm going to swear you in. Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear that any information you provide the board at this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Who's this vato?
Bob Menzel?
Thank you. So, Trooper Underwood, you are employed by the Vermont State Police?
Yes.
And were you on duty on July 26th of 2024?
Yes, I was.
And during the course of that day, did you have involvement with an investigation involving Mr. Smith?
Yes, I did.
And can you just describe for the board what the nature of that investigation was, please?
Without reading my affidavit verbatim, basically about 2:50 in the morning. That morning we had a burglary alarm at the Exit 18 equipment business in Georgia. Myself and Trooper Martin responded there. We found that the business had been burglarized, and while we're on scene, the owners brought up the video footage of that burglary.
Were you able to were you able to observe the video footage?
Yes. So when looking at the footage, I was aware of other burglaries in the area around that time frame where Mr. Smith was the person of interest. While looking at the footage, it was a heavier set male, like walked with a limp. You could hear him breathing heavy on the videos, but face was covered, wearing dark clothing, hoodie that was pulled up. So my suspicion was it could have been Mr. Smith that night. Basically, I knew that there had been other involvements with him as a person of interest.
And did you were you able to investigate further on that burglary?
Yes. Sorry. So then I was aware of Trooper Cody's case in Cambridge. I don't know the exact details of that, but we shared some footage back and forth, and both of us were like, the male in the footage appears to be has the same features as each other, if you get what I'm saying.
Sure. So based on your observations of the video, you concluded that it was Mr. Smith that did the break-in there on July 26th? Or July 25th?
With that, sorry, and then on another date, I don't know if you want to jump ahead, but I had a supplemental affidavit for September 13th. I don't know if you saw that as well.
I have not received a copy of that affidavit, Trooper.
Okay.
So, yeah, Bob, I don't know if do you intend to rely on that? Sorry, Trooper, I'm just asking Attorney Menzel if he intends to ask questions based on information in that affidavit.
Well, I have the intent to ask questions regarding Trooper Underwood's investigation, so I guess they would come in.
Understood. I'm asking whether the department provided the board with a copy of that affidavit, and if so, whether the board provided me with a copy of that affidavit.
The board does not have a copy of a supplement affidavit.
I don't have one either.
Yeah,
okay,
so
thank you.
You may proceed with your questioning.
So you were saying that, was there additional information that you uncovered during the investigation?
Yes, the day of the burglary, so we're talking July 26th, we received an anonymous, or not anonymous tip, a Facebook tip from
Wait, what?
Nathan Roy.
Facebook?
In that tip, it said he also believed it was Russell Smith in the video footage, and he was also aware that Russell was a person of interest in several other burglaries in the area.
Okay. Did you ever, were you ever able to recover any of the stolen items?
No.
And did you ever have any conversation with Mr. Smith about this particular burglary?
I don't remember the exact date, but I did go up to see him at his Troy Street address after he was released. I think he was a few weeks he was released, or he was in jail for a couple of weeks, and I went to talk to him, but he did not want to talk to me about this burglary.
I don't blame him. I wouldn't have been saying anything.
Brother.
Especially over a Facebook tip.
Thank you. Jill and Alex?
Hi, Trooper. I'm the lucky one who gets to ask you questions. I just have
Sure.
a couple quick ones, okay?
Yep.
So in the affidavit that I've received, you talk about surveillance footage. So can you please explain how far away the camera was from the area under inspection in the Exit 18 power equipment store?
Well, there's a few angles that
Okay.
were provided. One was, I don't have them in front of me right now. I could if
No,
we
that's
need
okay.
to.
General information and what you recall is just fine.
I think the one we were referencing that had the most was like it was probably up in the air facing down towards like the registers, and had the gentleman walk by, so we're talking 10 or 15, 20 feet max away from where the suspect walked by.
So from that angle and that distance, approximately how tall do you believe the suspect to be?
I hadn't really thought too much about it. Just average. I always compare them to my size, so I would say that I'm, 5'10", 200 plus pounds, and they were larger than I was. So that's just the general.
Okay.
Wait, what?
So
He's an expert?
5'10", 200 plus pounds. And how much of the individual's face was showing? You said the face was partially covered.
Yep, just there was some sort of scarf or handkerchief covering the nose and mouth, so you could see the eyes.
Okay. And was the video in color or black and white?
It was colored.
So were you able to discern eye color?
No.
Okay. So based on your general estimation, how many individuals have you dealt with, let's say, in the past week, month, that are approximately 5'10" and over 200 pounds with any eye color?
Good question, Jill. Thank you. Good question.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, I know. I have no idea. In the past
More
week
than
or so.
5?
Yeah.
More than 10?
I don't count that specifically, but yes, there's been several. Yes.
But it's fair to say, right, that there's not like only a single individual in Franklin County who's walking around with those height and weight characteristics.
Man, I'm 5'9". Good thing I wasn't around
and
there.
Are you aware that Mr. Smith had told your colleague, Trooper Cody, that he had purchased a chainsaw from another individual, Craig Fuller?
Yes.
Okay. Are you aware of Mr. Fuller's height and weight?
No, I'm not.
Would it surprise you to know that Mr. Fuller is 72 inches tall and 215 pounds approximately?
I don't know.
Okay.
It could be, yes.
Would that height and weight fit the description or the person whom you saw in the video?
Yeah.
No sé.
And the person who left the anonymous Facebook tip.
Sorry, it wasn't anonymous.
Not anonymous.
His name and everything was on it. Yes.
Not anonymous.
What's his name? We need to know his name.
He had messaged the owners of Exit 18 equipment, who then gave me the screenshot of the message.
Okay. And are you familiar with this individual?
This was the first time I've talked to Mr. Royer.
Okay. Did you run a criminal check on Mr. Royer?
I don't think so, no.
Okay. Are there any, I guess I have no further questions. I appreciate your testimony today, Trooper Underwood. Thank you very much.
Not guilty.
Anything
So
else,
just
Bob Menzel?
a quick follow-up, Trooper Underwood. Part of the identification was based on the some other characteristics of the individual in the video. Is that correct?
What do you mean?
I think you indicated that it was somebody that walked with a limp.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Yeah. Yep. Had a limp when they walked, and then in the video you can hear the person clearing their throat, which I guess was a specific characteristic of Mr. Smith that I talked to Mr. Royer about, which was, like I said, you don't have that affidavit, but it was submitted to the state's attorney.
This fool said clearing his throat.
Why they wanted Mr. Smith recited for, I think, the beginning of November.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I don't have any other questions.
If there's nothing further for Trooper Underwood, we are all set. Thank you, Trooper Underwood, for your time.
All right, not a problem. Thank you.
Anything else from the Department of Corrections?
No, that's it.
Bill?
Very briefly, I know we're behind. I would just note for the board that Mr. Smith has pled not guilty in the court case in which he's currently pending. As Trooper Underwood indicated, he has been recited, but he has not been charged, nor has any finding of probable cause been made in connection to the exit 18 power equipment incident. Mr. Smith fully intends to fight these charges, and it's our position that there is no evidence, or very, very weak evidence, if any, connecting him to these incidents. As you heard from Trooper Underwood, there was a very, very vague description of a suspect that coincidentally matched Mr. Smith, but also matches another individual whom he has identified as the person who sold him these stolen power tools, Craig Fuller. And that there are very important logistical inferences that Trooper Cody made in investigating this case, which are not in fact supported by the facts. So again, we don't believe the department has proved a Condition 1 violation by a preponderance of the evidence. Mr. Smith has taken responsibility today for the Condition 9 violation, and so we're asking that the board take no action as to Condition 1 and that we move on to disposition.
Thank you. Anything else?
Yeah, I'd just like to point out that there is significant evidence that was testified to about the Pro Power robbery. There's video of Mr. Smith using stolen credit cards, and there's also the recovery of that document. It's very speculative, all this talk about Mr. Fuller. Mr. Fuller's not here to testify. Nobody's really been able to identify who Mr. Fuller is or have him come in to testify. But I think based just on Mr. Smith's own statements and based on that video of him using the stolen credit cards, it's a pretty reasonable inference for a preponderance of the evidence standard that Mr. Smith was the one that stole those credit cards, as well as all that other stuff. Also, there's the tire track, which was at the scene of the crime, as well as a matching tire track at Mr. Smith's address. We'd suggest that there's more than enough evidence under a preponderance standard to find him guilty of engaging in new criminal activity in violation of Condition 1.
That fool said tire tracks. Come on now, man. This is a kangaroo court.
What is the pleasure of the board, please?
I'll move for deliberative session, please.
I'll second.
Motion's made and seconded for the board to enter a deliberative session. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. We shall return shortly.
Thank you. And MJ, could you please put Alex, Mr. Smith, and I in a breakout room briefly?
Sure.
Thanks.
Yeah, this one's and they're taking a lot of time on this. They really want to nail this guy. For whatever reason, that cop definitely was doesn't want him on the street.
Breakout room is opening now.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And I forgot one of the Alexes. Hold on, Alex. Alex, I will get you in that breakout room too. We had two Alexes, so I got confused for a second. Hold on.
I know
I
that
got
confused me
earlier
as well.
These
That confused me as well, Mary Jane. And
Yeah.
Alex, just ask Alex Arioli to step out of the room while you guys meet.
I'm sure Jill will cover that. All right, I am jumping over with the board.
Hey, Kilo, buenos dias. How's it going? You know what? This one in Vermont is a trip because you could jump on, and your name and square will be up on the screen. So check this out. Look, so I'm right here. Maybe I'll turn on my camera next time I come on. I'm right there. If I turn on my camera, I could actually show my face on the screen at the hearing, which is funny. I don't think any other hearings that I check out actually have it set up like that. So what do you guys think they're gonna do? Do you think they're gonna let him go, or they're gonna violate his parole? So right now we're just waiting. We have nothing going on the screen right now. Everybody's they're talking behind the scenes. Amy K writes, "Let him go." KB, let him go. Yeah, if I was in that situation, I would have been heated, because the cop was making it seem like he had admitted to stealing them, which wasn't the case. Where are you now? And what did he do? So right now, this is in Vermont, the state of Vermont, Board of Parole hearings, and he's accused of burglarizing a business, stealing some chainsaws, and I think then he pawned them, I want to say. But don't quote me on that. I believe I had stepped out for a bit. And for those of you that are on the TT site, I'm actually running 3 other streams on another major platform, which has a red logo in a white triangle inside of it. I'm running. I got Connecticut, Vermont, and Utah, but I'm active on the one on Vermont.
They are on their way back now.
Thank you, Snow. Thank you. Highly appreciate it. And let me see this comment right here. They said they are suspicious because he used a card in another case. Hey, that Facebook tip is the one that's cracking me up.
We are back on the record.
Thank you. So the board finds there is a preponderance of evidence to support a violation of Condition 1 based on the testimony provided this morning, and a violation of Condition 9 based on Russell Smith's admission at the beginning of the violation hearing, and move on to disposition. And we will begin with the recommendation from the Department of Corrections.
I'll defer to Alex on that.
The Department of Corrections stance is revocation based on the evidence and the testimonies everybody heard today, based on Mr. Smith's history, and then again with the violations for Conditions 1 and 9 today.
Damn, that's scandalous.
Thank you, Jill.
Yes, good morning, all. We have 2 offers as to how to best resolve this case for the board that we ask that you please consider. The first is that Mr. Smith be continued on parole with a reprimand for his file. Since he was released on bail by the board, he has complied with his very strict conditions of release. He's been living with his family as instructed in Troy. He has a job with Working Fields that is ready to start, assuming he's continued on parole. He's maintained his sobriety, engaged in IOP, and learned last night that his fiance is pregnant.
Oh.
Which, though is wonderfully exciting, is also somewhat medically complicated. And his continued presence at home is necessary to support her. Alternatively, we would ask that the board please continue disposition until Mr. Smith takes these cases to trial. I think as is abundantly clear, he fully intends to really litigate these cases. And there's a lot of litigation to do. And though we are moving things as quickly as we possibly can, that might take some time. Mr. Smith has been in the community on parole since 2021. And this is the first time, save for his bail hearing, that he's appeared in front of you all, which really speaks to his ability to comply with his parole conditions, to work closely with his PO. And so he can be supervisable on bail. We are happy to give the board status updates as instructed, but we're asking that he please, that disposition either be continued or that he be continued on parole with a reprimand.
And I'd just like to point out the whole point of doing these hearings is to get them resolved regardless of what happens in the criminal proceedings, because it's the behavior, it's not the outcome of the criminal case that matters. This is an individual who was already on parole for the same offenses that he's now accused of committing while on parole for those offenses. And we would just suggest that revocation is the obvious solution, given that to continue someone on parole when they're committing the same offense that they're already on parole for, it's kind of a mockery of the parole system.
May I briefly respond? Very briefly.
Sure.
So, Mr. Smith doesn't dispute what he's on parole for, but he obviously disputes these pending charges quite vociferously. If we're really only focusing on the underlying behavior here, then the underlying behavior speaks to him being continued on parole, because he openly admitted to a relapse due to his brother's traumatic death, also associated with substance use disorder last year. He spoke about it with his PO. He admitted it to the board. And since being given the opportunity to return to the community on bail, he's done exactly as promised. His behavior speaks to his ability to be supervised in the community on parole, work with his counsel, and resolve these charges ultimately to a not guilty verdict.
Thank you. There's nothing further, then what is the pleasure of the board for disposition?
I would request a deliberative session, please.
I'll second.
Motion is made and seconded for a deliberative session. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Again, we'll return shortly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, the board members will meet again and decision.
Hey, John, while we have a second, can you get back to me on those requests that I put in yesterday? Have you heard from the POs?
Oh, wait a minute. Can you hear me?
Yeah, there you are.
All right. I don't see myself on this list.
Oh, I can see you.
Oh, way down here. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll get back to you. Yes, I don't see any problems.
Beautiful. Because I am out of the office tomorrow morning. I'm headed down to Fall River, to your neck of the woods. So
Fall River.
south of Newport. So that's kind of Fall River-ish, right?
Fall River to me growing up was like, might as well have been the Carolinas.
Either way, it's a schlep. And so I fully anticipate being in the car and away from my phone for a couple hours tomorrow morning.
The board is on their way back.
Yeah.
We are back on the record.
Thank you. So it is a unanimous decision of the board that we are going to revoke Russell Smith's parole at this time, based on the documents and testimony provided to us at this hearing. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. Mr. Smith, I'll be in touch, as will Alex, okay?
Thank you.
Yep.
And Alex, I'll be sending this document over to you in just a minute or two.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. And we have Nicholas Shearer up next.
So Jill, are you working the rest of this month before you go on leave?
No, so my surgery is on the 16th, so I'm gonna try and make my official last day the 14th and then try and clean everything up. So I'm with you guys today, Chittenden, Marble Valley, and then that's it. I'm meeting with Don Matthews later today to take over the docket for November. Yeah, hopefully I'll be back in early December if all goes as planned.
Good, I hope so.
Thank you. Yeah, me too.
And Jill and Bob, thank you for working with me prior to the release of the schedule, just because it was so crazy.
Of course.
That was a crazy schedule.
I figure if I can offset some of it at the get-go.
Yeah. And I hate to make things more complicated. I do need a minute with Mr. Scherrer now that he's in the room.
Yep. Give me one second. Gotta figure out which room I've got you in. All right, that breakout room is opening now.
Okay, thanks.
All right. What did I miss? Let me see where. So I stepped away. Hey, Head Cedric, welcome. Let me see, Anita. We need to get. My wife is always complaining about my chair. She's been telling me to get rid of it, but man, these chairs are expensive. So I'm not gonna buy another one. This'll do. I'll just throw a sheet over it.
They are on their way back.
Let me see. Let me see. He has Connecticut, Utah going on. Yeah. So that is correct. I got 3 streams running right now, but I'm active on the Vermont one.
Up over Jay the other day, freaking leave.
Okay, everybody, we are good to go.
All right, today's date is October 1st, 2024, and we are doing St. Albans probation parole hearings via Microsoft Teams. This is a parole violation hearing for Nicholas Shearer. Present is Parole Board Chair Dean George, Vice Chair Pat Bushy, Parole Board Member Katie Aiken, Parolee Nicholas Shearer, Probation Parole Officer Dave Talcott, Prisoner's Rights Attorney Jill Martin, Assistant Attorney General Bob Menzel, and Parole Board Director Mary Jane Ainsworth.
Thank you. Good morning, Nicholas.
All right.
Nicholas, in the first part of the violation hearing, we're going to consider the 2 conditions of your parole agreement that you've been charged with violating. I'm going to begin by reading them to you one at a time, and I'll ask you to either admit or deny violating each of those conditions. If you choose to deny either or both, then we'll ask the Department of Corrections to provide the board with the information on it, and we'll determine if it's sufficient to find that you did violate it or not. If we find you did, then we'll move on to the disposition part of the hearing where we talk about your parole status and then make a decision on that.
Okay.
During the hearing, if you wish to speak with your attorney at any time, just let me know and we'll pause the hearing and allow you to talk with her privately and then resume the hearing.
Okay.
Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear that any information you provide at this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. And David, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear that information you provide at this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. So, Nicholas, the first condition is number 2, which is that you must report within 24 hours any contact with law enforcement you have to your parole officer. Do you admit or deny violating that?
Mr. Shearer denies violating condition 2.
Okay. And number 8 is that you cannot purchase, possess, or consume alcohol while on parole and must submit to an alcohol test if one is requested of you. Do you admit or deny violating that condition?
Mr. Shearer admits violating that condition as to the events of September 17th, but denies as to all other behavior causing violations detailed in the violation report.
Okay. So we would need information on condition number 2, David and Bob.
Yep, I'm going to defer to Dave on this. So can you just advise the board what the factual basis is for that condition 2 violation?
Yes, on condition 2, Mr. Shearer had police contact on, I got a notification from September 9th, an incident report from VSP, and it stated during that incident on August 16th, VSP arrived at Mr. Shearer's home after his sister had called about him breaking into the bathroom window and making threatening statements towards her. She called the cops because he was intoxicated. That report there, Mr. Shearer has failed to report police contact to this PO.
Thank you. Jill?
So we're asking that the board please take no action as to condition 2 under 18 VSA 4254. So I know we haven't talked about this law in quite a while, but to refresh the board's memory, this statute provides immunity for any individual about whom a request for medical assistance has been made relating to a drug overdose, including an alcohol overdose. And 4254, I believe it's sub E, says that a person who is the subject of a good faith request for medical assistance shall not be subject to any sanction for a violation of a condition of pretrial release, probation, furlough, or parole. And so the facts as detailed by PO Talcott today and in the report indicate that Mr. Scher was an individual in need of medical assistance. His sister called concerned about his welfare. As detailed in the report, emergency medical services were dispatched. He was unconscious at the time, and he had suffered a drug overdose under the statute, specifically use of alcohol. And so pursuant to this, he is immune from liability as to Condition 2 and should not be subject for any sanctions as related to that. We've already informed the department as to the existence of this law.
Anything
I
else?
would just
Go ahead.
I would just state, as far as that goes, it was Mr. Scheer. Yes, he was intoxicated per the report, but he broke into the house where his sister was staying at, who was the victim of his domestic, and he made threatening remarks towards her per the incident report. And yes, he was intoxicated, but because of all of those incidents, that is why she called the cops. Then they later arrived about 20 or 30 minutes after the fact, and then the details where he refused EMS services, and she did not want them there. She did not feel comfortable with him there. So in order to take him into protective custody, in order to go to Northwest, you have to be medically cleared.
Mm-hmm.
They will.
If I might
And that's all.
respond. Yeah. So what the parole violation report details is that when VSP arrived, and yes, as PO Talcott indicated, it was half an hour after the call was made, Mr. Scheer was passed out on the floor, unable to care for himself, taken into protective custody, medically detoxed, and a drug overdose by the statute means an acute condition resulting from or believed to be resulting from, for example, use of alcohol. He received medical assistance due to the drug overdose, and should be immune from liability under the statute for any incidents relating to that. Mr. Scherer was obviously having a very hard time and takes responsibility for the other date on which he was drinking. But were the board to proceed, it would really deprive the statute of its intent, which is to encourage people to call when they see someone overdosing, or when people are actively having an overdose themselves, to receive medical help and not be in fear that they will be forced to come in front of a court or the parole board to explain their actions when they were in acute need of medical assistance.
And I think the legal distinction here too is that I think the statute definitely immunizes him from liability with Condition 8, which we've kind of conceded. But I don't see how that reaches to his failure to report law enforcement contact. I don't think that is covered by the statute. So,
thank you. If there is nothing, go ahead.
I have nothing further. I would just point out that for the 24 hours immediately after this incident, Mr. Scherer was recovering from acute alcohol toxicity at the medical center and then in department custody. I'm not sure at what time he was supposed to be able to call his PO.
Oh, he's biting his nails again.
There's a purpose for this statute, and I do believe that this situation goes to the heart of that.
I'm gonna change my camera
If
because
there's
this is
nothing further, what is the pleasure of the board, please?
I'd like to request a deliberative service section, please.
I'll second.
Motion is made and seconded for the board to enter a deliberative session. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. We'll be back.
You guys see that guy in the upper right? He keeps on biting his his nails on camera. It's disgusting. Hey, Sidwick. Hey, gracias. Highly appreciate it. If you're not tapping, then you're napping. Gracias. Snow, keep tapping to 10K. Highly appreciate it. All right. So,
Where are you at finding a new job?
Supposed to have some interviews this afternoon. One's a dairy center in Berkshire.
That's a restaurant.
Yeah, they're breakfast.
Yeah, I saw that where they were
Yeah, they saw it on the
Their
billboard.
Sunday buffet or whatever, they said the short staff was gonna not be at the dairy center, but gonna be at the tavern instead, like the bowling alley.
Oh, okay, yeah,
I
yeah.
saw that, it said short staff.
Yeah, on the billboard thing. Is that where you seen it?
I saw it on the Abbey or something like that. I saw
No.
both.
Supposed
I
to
tried
have
to
some
work at the Abbey
interviews.
once. I got hired, went in for my first shift, and freaking told me to go home. Couldn't hire anybody.
Why?
I don't know. This wasn't recent. This was a couple years back. Still.
You got any experience in the cooking industry?
Oh yeah, yeah, like 8 to 10 years almost. That's what I did at Jay for a while, the Belfry, and then my ex-girlfriend's parents owned a restaurant in Enosburg.
Which one was that?
The Bullpen, Sports Grill.
Maybe right there on the
Yeah,
left side.
Where Tammy's family hair care was and stuff. It's Coleman Scissors now.
He's over here chit chatting with the enemigo, with the enemy right here. So I'm probably gonna be on. I'm probably gonna be on for like another hour.
There, like that kid was talking about earlier. They got a bus that picks up in Richford. It's like $50 a week or something, but they'll bring you there, bring you back.
Oh yeah, it's not a bad thing.
Oh.
I don't think they're in custody
I know
because
there's a bus from here that goes down there, but I didn't know about Richford.
Yeah.
because he's in street clothes.
You gotta take it from Richford.
He didn't eat breakfast.
I guess foods will stop at like Walgreens or something. You know, say for instance, I gotta stop and get my prescription. Stop, let you run in and wait for you.
That'd be decent.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna probably be on for like another hour or so.
I want to check in at Jay too because I like to snowboard in the winter. So.
Should be getting busier here.
Yeah.
Should be fall foliage and tourism and some point skiing.
Foliage alone, it's freaking hectic for them. Plus, golf's still open till October, I guess.
Well, golf will stay open until it gets too much frost. Once you get frost in the ground, that stays for a long time. Then they normally will cancel it. They don't want people to walk down the grass. It kills the grass. But we haven't had a frost yet.
No. Oddly enough, and it's been fairly chilly at night.
It's chilly, but not that cold yet. Should be coming soon, though.
Yeah. Surprised how warm it was the last few days, being fall.
Been muggy.
Yeah.
Usually in the 70s, but it's still pretty sticky out there, humidity.
Yeah. Today's supposed to be about 70, partly cloudy. But
Tomorrow, a chance of rain down to 60s, then back up to 70s. And I don't think until end of next week.
we did need that rain we got the other day, kind of.
Yeah, it was pretty wet early in the year, but it's gotten
Yeah.
a lot drier.
Yeah, the lawn was pretty soggy. Bad.
All right, so I stepped away quickly because I wanted to reply to one of the comments on one of the other streams. We had Tammy over on the Utah stream right now, so yeah. So like I was saying, I'm probably gonna be on for like about another hour. Once that hour hits, I'm gonna be heading out, but I'll leave the stream running if it hasn't ended by that time. Well, on the other platform on TT, I'll go ahead and cut it. Let me see. Just curious, had to get off for a few. The guys with the stolen drills. What did he get? He ended up getting violated. But I stepped away also when that happened. Hopefully somebody could fill us in. The guy with the drill. What was it? The drill or was it a chainsaw? If anybody could share how much time he got violated for. Just curious, revoked. Yup. Got revoked. So right now we're just waiting. It looks like they're probably talking behind the scenes to figure out whether they're going to violate him or not. Chainsaw got revoked. They Lyme awareness. Thank you. Highly appreciate that. Let me see. Laughing out loud. My bad. Snow. Thank you. All right. And anybody that's watching him right now, I got a interview that I did last week. I'll be dropping it on one of the other major platforms. If you're interested in listening to individuals that were formerly incarcerated and were in the California Department of Corrections. Let me see. Lyme Awareness Road. I don't think they said how long for. Okay. All right. Sub Fiesta. What's that? So far, this is what is this? This is the second case, right? Because the other one took forever. So we're 2 hours in. They're definitely moving slow right now. Not as fast. You know what? Me personally, I prefer the Connecticut Board of Parole hearings, because those are interesting. Over here in Vermont, man, they compared to Connecticut, doesn't seem like they got that much action. They might be tipping over cows or whatever they do out there. I couldn't say. Never been to Vermont. Not offending anybody from Vermont.
The board is on their way back.
Ah, goodness. About time.
Did Dave leave the room, Nicholas? Oh, hi. Must be you were just sitting so still, Dave, that... And you're muted, by the way, too, when we start back up. We are back on the record.
Thank you. So it is a unanimous decision of the board that we're going to find Nicholas guilty of violating Condition 2 and 8 by his own admission. Condition 2, the board understands the statute that has been referenced in this 18 VSA 4254, but feels that it does not preclude Nicholas Scherrer, in this case, the parolee, from his responsibility to report any law enforcement contact to his PO. And we will move on to disposition. And we'll begin with the Department of Corrections, please.
Okay. On August 6th of 2024, this writer explained to Mr. Scherrer's parole conditions. He was granted parole on August 6th. On September 9th, this writer obtained a report from VSP. The report reads that on August 16th, 10 days after being given parole, around 21:38 hours, dispatch was called by an intoxicated person. The complainant was Samantha Scherrer, which is Mr. Scherrer's sister, who's the victim of his domestic assault. Stated that her brother, Nick Scherrer, was very intoxicated and had broken into the house in Richford, and she stated entered through the bathroom window and was being verbally assaulted. VSP arrived at 22:15 hours. They entered the home. Mr. Scherrer was passed out on the living room floor. S1 Scherrer was woken up and he appeared very intoxicated and unable to care for himself. Scherrer refused to leave with EMS, so he's taken into protective custody. He had a BAC of 0.184. They brought him to NMC, where he was cleared, and then he was brought up to the Northwest State Correctional Facility for detox. From that date till that writing of the 18th, Mr. Scherrer never reported any police contact to his PO. So based on the conditions on that one was Condition 2 and Condition 8. And then on September 17th, 2024, around 19:10 hours, CCO Ging and Wallace performed a field check. Mr. Scherrer was asked about his sobriety. He said it was going well. Scherrer denied any alcohol use on that night, and he was asked to submit to an Alka-Seltzer test, which he agreed to, and that recorded a BAC of 0.015. Mr. Scherrer denied the use of alcohol on that night, which was a condition of violating Condition number 8.
Anything else?
Nothing else.
Bill?
I'm sorry, I haven't heard yet, and I apologize if I didn't catch this, what the department's recommendation is.
Is that after the fact or now?
Now.
So our recommendation is revocation.
So we are asking that Mr. Scherrer please be continued on parole with a reprimand for his file. He has been out in the community on furlough since June of 2023 with no incidents and was granted his parole in September. His relapse in September was a wake-up call for him, and he has taken serious steps to remedy his sobriety and get back on a productive path since that time. He recently received the anabuse shot, which I'm not sure if you all are familiar with that, which is to address alcohol use, and if the recipient of the shot drinks, they become incredibly ill. I believe the shot lasts for a 30-day period. So, Mr. Scherrer, when did you get the shot?
I went and got it just 2 weeks ago, 14 days ago.
Okay. And do you have a follow-up appointment for another one?
It'll be October 16th, I believe, 15th.
Okay. And can you please tell the board a little bit about the counseling you've been doing since all this happened?
Yes. So since then, they've given me they've hired a new counselor at my where I go for treatment for drugs and for drug treatment. And since then, I've been able to reach out to her more, on a more basis and check in with her and just kind of get things off my chest. And then I also went to an AA meetings on Tuesdays and Thursdays for an hour each, right in Enosburg.
Okay. So how frequently are you doing the counseling, would you say?
Counseling is once a week.
Great. And what do you have planned for this afternoon?
This afternoon, I have a couple of interviews for work, and I also have my appointment at Cold Hollow for my treatment.
Okay. So Mr. Scherrer is happy to provide additional details, but I understand that we're behind schedule. So the board has questions. He's happy to answer those.
Thank you. If there's nothing else, then what is the pleasure of the board, please?
I'll move for deliberative session.
I'll second.
Motion has been made and seconded for the board to enter a deliberative session. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. We shall return.
Sidebar.
Yeah, they're on another sidebar.
She also didn't mention that was my residence that she locked me out of, right?
For those of you that are wondering where I'm at, I'm over here stuffing my face off a camera. Wouldn't want anybody to screen record me stuffing my face, so I'm right here in the sidelines. I'm looking at the screen, just trying to eat my breakfast burrito over here. What do you guys think they're gonna do with this guy? Are they gonna put him back in in prison? Hey, KC fan, how's it going? And for those of you that are not familiar with KC_, she actually runs a prison pen pal TikTok page, Locked Up Connections. If you're looking for love, if you're looking for a pen
The board is
pal,
on their way back.
if you're looking for a friend, go ahead and check her out.
More convenient. Yeah.
We are back on the record.
Thank you. So, Nicholas, it is a unanimous decision of the board that we are going to continue on parole with a reprimand. We do understand the importance of your sobriety, and obviously if you continue with the abuse and your treatment, you should be fine. I also want to caution you, though, that in this circumstance, you were very fortunate that your parole officer chose not to charge you with violating condition 1 and 14, which is that you have no contact with your sister. This could have gone much differently had it gotten any worse. So take advantage of this opportunity and don't let it happen again.
No, sir.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, board members.
All right, we have ABDIFATAH SHEIKH-BILE up next.
Yeah, you're all set.
And I just need a quick breakout room with him if I can.
Yep, just a second. I'll
Thanks.
get that set up.
MJ, I'll be right back. Just 1 minute.
Okay. All right, I am opening that room up now.
Okay, thanks.
And while we're in between, Stephanie Moley, I see that you're on. I sent you an email as well. Are you here with Lowe for which is scheduled for tomorrow?
All right. I'm done. I'm done stuffing my face. Let me turn on my camera back on over here on this other platform. All right. So how's everybody out there doing today? Anything exciting going on for this weekend? Do tell, do share. And for those of you that are watching, what state do you guys prefer? Do you guys prefer Vermont, Connecticut, Utah? I think this week I might be having one from Oregon going down. I gotta double check my emails, but I've never done one from Oregon, and they don't have them that often. So I'm assuming that at some point maybe they stopped the parole process, and it might be somebody that's been incarcerated before they made those changes to the law, and he has his board of parole hearing. So definitely looking forward to checking that one out. I think it's set up for the 3rd or the 4th, but I gotta double check. Let me see. Snow put. There isn't enough room in the desert for the up. But you know what? In Connecticut, it was wild this last Friday. You know, with all those hearings they had, definitely an eye opener. I gotta keep my eyes open whenever I'm out in Utah. I agree on all creepers. All right, so for those of you that are just stumbled on and trying to figure out what's going on right now, we're just waiting for them to start the hearing. And once they do that, then I'll go ahead and show the video feed for small periods of time in between. I stay packing. That's right, Snow. What do you guys think? Should I show myself on the board of parole hearing screen? I got my little square right here. I got my little square right there. What do you guys think? Should I pop up on them? What do you think they'll say if I pop up on the screen? Because I look nothing like any of these individuals on here. Look at this. Oh, what about I pop up on the screen and then I'll put on my LA County Jail suit on there. I'd be like, what's going on over here? I'd be like, oops, wrong parole board hearing. How'd I end up over here? I'm not in Kansas anymore. This guy right here, up on the top, Robert Menzel, he's a nail biter. He wants to bite his nails. If you look at him, he wants to bite his nails. Look, he wants to bite his nails. All throughout the other hearing, he kept on biting his nails. I'm keeping a close eye on him. I hope he washed his hands before he starts biting his nails and cleaned under his nails, or maybe that's the way he cleans them out when he bites those nails. So how do you guys feel about nail biters? He's getting bored. Robert looks like he's about to take a nap. Well, there is a 3-hour time difference, so right now it is 11:30 over there. So he might be due for some breakfast. Oh no, not breakfast. For some brunch or for some lunch.
I heard a mumble, but then I could put it together when I saw the transcript.
I think that was.
Sorry, I was looking at
it made all the asterisk Bob, so I was inferring a little bit.
Sorry, I was reviewing another case and talking to myself, and I didn't realize my mic was still on. Sorry.
He is.
And it wasn't even a parole board case. It was like some other case that just came in from a judge in St. Albans.
You were having a good conversation with yourself, anyway.
Well, it was a profane conversation with myself.
You're having a profane conversation with your stomach and your fingernails.
There are times where I'm like, I double check if my camera or mic are on.
Yeah, definitly.
The rate show 10:30 where I live. I'm ready for a nap.
I just accidentally opened your room when I meant to close the other room, so I'm gonna close it. So if you go, I'm sorry. we may have some crazy teleporting for a minute, but Jill and Mr. SHEIKH-BILE are on their way back.
Thank you, everybody, for your patience. We are ready to go.
Okay.
It's about time.
And it looks like the board's not going anywhere because I accidentally opened their room when I went to close yours, Jill. So I'm just making sure before I start.
And let me check.
All right. If we're ready, I will begin.
Yes, we are.
Okay, today's date is October 1st, 2024, and we are doing Northwest State Correctional Facility hearings via Microsoft Teams. This is a parole violation hearing for ABDIFATAH SHEIKH-BILE. Present is Parole Board Chair Dean George, Vice Chair Pat Bushy, Parole Board Member Katie Aiken, Parolee ABDIFATAH SHEIKH-BILE, Probation Parole Officer Alex Fontaine, Prison Rights Attorney Jill Martin, Assistant Attorney General Bob Menzel, and Parole Board Director Mary Jane Ainsworth.
So we got two hearings.
Good morning, ABDIFATAH. How are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
Good. So in the first part of the hearing, I'm going to review the 4 conditions of your parole agreement that you've been charged with violating. And I'll ask you to either admit or deny them. For any that you may choose to deny, we'll ask your parole officer, the Department of Corrections, to provide the information on that issue, and then we'll decide if it is sufficient to find you did violate that condition or not. If we find you did violate any of the conditions, then we'll move to the disposition part of the hearing where we talk about your parole status and make a decision on what we're going to do with that at the end of the hearing. If you wish to speak with your attorney at any time, just let me know and we'll pause the hearing and make arrangements for you to be able to talk with her privately and then resume the hearing. Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear that any information you provide at this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. And Alexandra, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear the information you provide at this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. So the first condition is number 3, which is that you must report to your parole officer as you've been required to and notify your parole officer about any changes in your residence or employment. Do you admit or deny violating that condition?
Yes, I admit.
The next one is that you must participate in any programming, screening, or counseling as required by your parole officer or the board, letting the provider disclose you're attending and participating. Do you admit or deny that?
I admit.
And the next one is that you must abide by a curfew if your parole officer has cause to put you on one. Do you admit or deny violating the curfew condition?
Yes, I admit.
And the last one is that your work or residence must be approved and you shall not establish or change either without getting prior approval from your parole officer. Do you admit or deny that?
Yes, I admit.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion that we find him guilty based on his own admission of violating conditions number 3, 7, 10, and 16 of his parole agreement and move on to disposition.
I'll second.
Thank you. Motion has been made and seconded to find ABDIFATAH guilty of violating conditions 3, 7, 10, and 16 of his parole agreement. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. It is unanimous. We'll move on to disposition. And we'll begin with the Department of Corrections recommendation first. Alexandra? Yeah.
Okay. Honestly, I would be okay with recommending a reprimand. I just have concerns about, you know, other substance use or mental health care. Those were my biggest concerns. He didn't pick up new charges or anything, but I only met with him one time. So.
Okay. Thank you. Jill?
We agree with the department's recommendation and ask that Mr. SHEIKH-BILE please be continued on parole with a reprimand for his file. He has now been incarcerated since June 11th. So we're looking at 3+ months, or at least 2 of those months he's had the ability to return to the community, but has seriously struggled to find approvable housing. And that's something that we will continue to work with him on. He's put in applications at First Step Recovery in Newport. He kind of wants to get away from the people, places, things in Chittenden County that have compromised his sobriety in the past. He also has submitted a private residence that he is working on with his caseworker, Mr. Mann. Most importantly, he is back on that at a dose that is addressing the substance use disorder. And I think we'll really let him get out this time and make a much better start.
Thank you. If there's nothing further, what is the pleasure of the board, please?
I'll request a quick session.
I assume, Katie, you second it?
Sorry, I was muted. Yes,
Yeah.
I second.
Thank you. Motion is made and seconded for the board to enter a deliberative session. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Pat?
Aye.
Thank you. We shall return.
All right, so it looks like they're going to be talking in the background to figure out what how much time they're going to give the individual on his parole violation. And that was pretty quick. It was nothing like the other one. I'm assuming because he's already in custody, so that definitely speeds up the process. So after this gentleman, we got one more individual, and that would conclude the hearings here in Vermont. And then what I'll probably end up doing would be if this stream ends before 9:20 my local time. I'm not sure what your local times will be, but I'll probably have start up doing there's 2 streams going on today in Connecticut. I'm currently streaming one of them, so I'll probably get the second one going. Let me see, Andrea. Let me see. Are are there any women parole hearings or anything? Actually, there is. There is, but today in Vermont, I've never seen any in Vermont that I recall. I have seen some
board is
in
on their way
Utah.
back.
I seen some in Utah and in Connecticut. In Utah, when I started the Utah stream today, there was a young lady that was in front of the parole board.
We are back on the record.
So ABDIFATAH, it is a unanimous decision of the board that we are going to support the recommendation to continue you on parole with a reprimand. Hopefully things are getting back on track for you and you can continue to be successful. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
And James, can you keep me posted on the first step?
Yeah, like I said,
Application?
I haven't heard anything back from them, so I'll probably have to bug them again, but they haven't
Okay.
reached back out since I sent an email.
Awesome. Thank you all very much. Have a great rest of your day.
And we'll continue to follow this case too, Joe.
Great. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you very much.
I'll see you all on Friday. Like I said, Friday.
Oh, yes. You'll see Pat on
Dale.
Friday.
I'll see Pat on Friday. Dean, I'll see you Monday.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
What? They're signing
All
off?
right, with that,
Oh, no.
that was our last hearing.
What?
If there's nothing else, I will conclude today's hearings.
I thought that was one more. But don't worry. Like I said, I'll start up the Connecticut ones right now. Let me just make sure that it is over. All right, yep, it is over. Concluded. Sorry, they booted me out. How dare they? I'm gonna stop the stream on this other platform, and I'll start up another one right now.